Turning now to I-Team 8. All police officers across the state now have to follow a new use of force policy created by the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. The policy allows officers to use chokeholds, a move that, of course, had been banned by IMPD in 2020. I-Team 8's Cody Fisher has details tonight.
The Law Enforcement Training Academy says chokeholds can only be used when an officer is authorized to use deadly force. They included chokeholds in this new use of force policy to give officers another tool to protect themselves and others if their life is in danger.
We felt like it was important, but I want to be clear that the use of a chokehold is only applicable in a situation that would allow for the officer to use deadly force. So there is no justification for it unless it's a deadly force situation.
The Training Academy says the new use of force policy will allow officers from everywhere across the state to have the same understanding of when they can and can't use force and how much.
The standard is reasonableness, and the standard is developed from Indiana state statute, from Supreme Court rulings, and Indiana case law.
How high is that threshold for the use of deadly force?
Well, it's the highest threshold that we have. The standard is serious bodily injury. So if I push you in the chest, is that substantial risk of serious bodily injury? Probably not. But if I come at you with a knife and there's an imminent threat of serious bodily injury, you don't have to wait until that individual plunges a knife into your chest to use deadly force.
The executive director of the Training Academy admits that there are gray areas when deciding what is and is not a reasonable amount of force.
It's hard. I mean, if it were an easy standard, then anyone could do it. And that's what makes this job so tough. That's what makes it a difficult position for all of us. That's why we think it's important to have a standardized policy around the state so that every officer has a pretty fair idea what is reasonable and what is not.
IMPD is the largest law enforcement agency in the state. It had previously banned the use of chokeholds after the death of George Floyd. I reached out for an interview to talk about the new use of force standard their officers are now following, but they declined my request. I also reached out to several members of the Indianapolis Use of Force Review Board, but they also declined my request for an interview. The Indiana Law Enforcement Training Academy tells me that this policy could change in the future if new laws are created that would add or ban certain uses of force. Reporting, Cody Fisher, I-Team 8, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook for updates.